Hello, my young friends. Uh, Today morning we had discussed rules regarding the rounding of the calculation. Now, here are the rules I will show you. You can note down in the notebook. Points to be noted while rounding off the numbers during the mathematical operations. Out of the three rules, this is the rule number one. If the rightmost digit is to be removed is more than 5, the preceding number is increased by 1. Same example I have taken in the morning class. Now rule number 2. If the rightmost digit to be removed is less than 5, the preceding number is not changed. Now the rule number 3. This is for 5. If the digit is 5, rightmost digit is 5. If the rightmost digit to be removed is 5, then the preceding number is not changed if it is an even number, but it is increased by 1 if it is an odd number. Examples are before you on the slide. Now we will go to the scientific notation. Meaning, scientific notation is a way of expressing numbers that are too big or too small to be conveniently written in decimal form. Here this is very important. Too big and too small to be conveniently written in decimal form. It consists of three parts. One is coefficient, base, and the exponent. You can recall the morning class. Okay, these are the explanation come notes, morning only explanation. Okay, right. This is one example how to express the number, not how to express what is meant by scientific notation. So this is called coefficient. This should be single digit, not double digit. Okay, once again I'm clarifying, this should be single digit between 1 to 9.99. Now this is the base 10. Okay, and how much to the power exponent, that depends upon the decimal. If this exponent is positive, okay, then it is greater than 1, the whole value. Whereas if it is the negative, the value becomes or less than 1 or between 0 and 1. Here I have taken an example of what? Positive exponent 10 to the power of 4. That is whole number becomes what? Greater than 1. That is the meaning of the positive exponent and the negative exponent. Now some examples. Please see here. These examples already we have discussed, okay, during our previous session, right? Okay. So these are some examples, right? Now we'll go to some mathematical operations using the scientific notation. If it is given, if it is not given in the scientific notation, we have to make it. If it is given in the scientific notation, first we'll calculate. If it comes automatically in the scientific notation, okay, otherwise we have to express in the scientific notation. This example already I think we have discussed. No. Okay. Yeah, this is not discussed in the previous topic of discussion. This is multiplication and division. Example number 1. 5.6 into 10 to the power 5 into 6.9 into 10 to the power of 8. That is equal to 5.6 into 6.9. Separately you go for the multiplication, and these two are multiplied using the law of indices. Therefore it is 5.6 into 6.9. multiplication answer is this was, and according to law of indices, 10 to the power 5 plus 8 becomes 10 to the power 13. So this is not in the scientific notation because here you can see two digits. Scientific notation should be in the single. Okay, the answer is 38.64 into 10 to the power 13, which is not in the scientific notation, because scientific notation definition or the meaning says that it should be single digit. Therefore we have to convert 38.642 into 3.864. Okay, When you convert decimal from here to here, so 10 to the power also will change. So that becomes 10 to the power 14. So the correct answer in the scientific notation is 3.864 into 10 to the power 14. Now we'll go to the second example. 9.8 into 10 to the power minus 2 into 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 6. This is also multiplication only, but the 10 to the powers are in the minus. Okay, right. So first we'll multiply 9.8 into 2.5 here. Then according to once again same laws of indices, 10 to the power minus 2 plus of 10 to the power minus 6, because a to the power m into a to the power n equal to a to the power m plus n. Accordingly, 10 to the power minus 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 equal to 10 to the power minus 2 plus 10 to the power minus 6, that becomes 10 to the power minus 8. So the answer is 24.50 into 10 to the power minus 8, which is not in the scientific notation. But I have made it and you have to make it into the scientific notation. The answer is 2.450 into 10 to the power minus 8. Now third example is for the division. 2.7 into 10 to the power minus 3 divided by 5.5 into 10 to the power 4. Right. As usual, normal division 2.7 by 5.5. This is law of indices. The second law of indices says that a to the power m by a to the power of n equal to a to the power m minus n. That is applied here. So the answer is 4.909 into 10 to the power minus 7. Already it is in the scientific notation, so no need to convert. The fourth one, 5.7 into 10 to the power minus 6 divided by 4.2 into 10 to the power minus 3. Same rule as usual, but here the powers are minus 3 and plus 4. Here the powers both are minus 6, minus 3, but here you have to concentrate a to the power m by a to the power of n equal to a to the power m minus a to the power m minus n. It is because minus is here, so minus of minus n, minus of minus 3, that becomes plus 3. Okay, so the answer is minus 3. So answer is already in the scientific notation, 1.357 into 10 to the power minus 7. Now we will go to the next calculation. This calculation of scientific notation is with respect to addition and the subtraction. Okay. Under the addition, I will explain one example, and under the subtraction also, I will explain one example. Right? Okay. So this is example. Addition of 6.65 into 10 to the power 4 and 8.95 into 10 to the power of 3. So this is the in the form of equation. Now please concentrate on the 10 to the power. This is 10 to the power 4. This is 10 to the power 3. So during addition, if both powers are in the different, then it becomes difficult to add. Therefore, what you have to do, we have to make equal. Whether you make both in the 10 to the power of 3 or 10 to the power of 4, left to you. Then we can take that 10 to the power common. So I have made it 10 to the power of 4 here. You can make it 10 to the power 3 also. Both are allowed. So this one I have kept as it is. No change. But this one 8.95 into 10 to the power 3 made it as 10 to the power 4. For that I have to change the decimal. So I have taken this as 0.895 into 10 to the power 4. So that you can take 10 to the power 4 common. Then these two can add easily by the normal method. The answer is 7.545 into 10 to the power 4. Kindly go through in the free time this example. Now I will go to the example number 3. Subtraction of 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 and 2.6 into 10 to the power minus 4. Here equation form 10 to the power minus this is minus 3, and this I have made it what? Minus 3. Why? I told in the first example, make the 10 to the power of exponents in the same. Okay. So here also you have to make either in terms of 10 to the power 3 or 10 to the power 4, minus 4. I have made it 10 to the power minus 3 form. So here is the answer, 4.24 into 10 to the power minus 3. So in this way we will we will use scientific notation for multiplication, division, addition, and the subtraction. Only thing is, in the case of addition and subtraction, we have to equalize the 10 to the powers, so that easy for us to go for the calculation. Next slide. A small unit to discuss on dimensional analysis. What is dimension? Dimensional analysis is the conversion between an amount in one unit to the corresponding amount in a desired unit using various conversion factors. See, we measure the length and breadth of a rectangle. We measure the length of a square, which is equal in all the four. We measure length, breadth, and height of a cube. So they are all called dimensions. Once you know the dimensions, we can go for the calculation of the area, calculation of the volume, or we can convert second into day, day into second, so meter into centimeter, centimeter into meter. For all these calculations, we require the knowledge of what? Dimensional analysis. So dimensional analysis is a small branch in the science, whether it is in the physics or chemistry, to convert one unit into the other unit using the converting factor. So for this, we have to go for the converting factor. Once you know the conversion factor, we can easily convert one unit into the other unit. Some few samples I have taken so that you can understand the dimensional analysis. Example number 1. A piece of metal is 3 inch long. What is its length in centimeter? Okay. That means we are converting inch into centimeter. So what is the conversion factor for the inch to centimeter? 1 inch equal to 2.54 centimeter. This I think you know from the 6th class. Some already you have learnt, but still as a revision, prior knowledge. So when 1 inch equal to 2.54 centimeter, 3 inch equal to simple multiplication, the answer is 7.62 centimeter. In the same way, a jug contains 2 liters of milk. Calculate the volume of the milk in meter cube. So liter to the meter cube. What is the conversion factor? 1 liter equal to 0.001 meter cube. Therefore, 2 liter equal to 2 into this one. Answer is 0.002 meter cube, or in terms of scientific notation, 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube. Third example is, how many seconds are there in a 2 days? For this to go for the conversion factor, 1 day contains 24 hours. 1 hour contains 60 minutes, and 1 minute equal to 60 seconds. All those we have made it. I have made it. So ultimately, I have made the converting factor. 1 day contains 86,400 seconds, and for 2 days, multiply. Answer is 1,72,800 seconds. So converting one unit to the other unit comes under the what? Dimensional analysis. So one dimension to the other dimension. Now this is the most important part of the 11th class. This is regarding the what? Laws of chemical combination for elements and the compounds. Yeah. See, we have seen in the 9th class, okay, nature is complex. Nature is variety in the form of color, in the form of texture, in the form of touch, in the form of property. So they're different. But till today, we have not understood 100% of the nature, because learning is a dynamic process. Every day, every week, every year, we learn science. So learning is a dynamic process. So that's why we have to keep learning how elements and compounds behaves. But one thing you remember, elements and compounds, if they want to react, okay, if they want to react, they react only under some conditions. So when the conditions are favorable, then they go for the combination, otherwise no. So what are the conditions for the combinations that we learn in the later classes? Now we discuss what first, what are the laws? That is, after conducting several experiments, they have made the laws. So first they conduct experiment, they will go for the calculations, they conclude, then they go for the law. So that law is, after everything they make a law. That is the universal truth. So we go for the laws of chemical combinations for elements and the compounds. Totally for 11th class we have 5 laws. In the 9th class there were only 2 or 3 laws. So 2 more laws are added to the 11th class the curriculum. So all together we will discuss 5 laws of chemical combinations. The law number 1, the law of conservation of mass. Second, law of definite proportion. Third, law of multiple proportion. Fourth, law of combining volumes. And the final one is Avogadro's law. The first one, law of conservation of mass. You see, in the title only meaning is there. Mass is conserved, mass is protected, mass is maintained. Let us see the statement. This law was proposed by Antoine Lavoisier in 1789, and the statement is, in all chemical changes the total mass of the reactants is equal to that of the products. That means total mass before the reaction and total mass after the reaction remains the same. That's why this law is called as law of indestructibility of matter. Means what? Matter is not destroyed. Matter is not destroyed. So matter is maintained. Matter means what? Its mass is maintained. So that's why it is called as law of conservation of mass. For example, if I go for an example, H2 plus Cl2 gives 2HCl. If you take the atomic mass of 2 hydrogen atoms, H2, and if you take the mass of the 2 chlorine atoms, Cl2, that you do on the left hand side, and on the right hand side 2HCl. So 2 into bracket H plus Cl molecular mass. So you will get same answer. We will see in the next discussion. So total mass before the reaction, total mass after the reaction must and should be the same. Why? Because matter is neither created nor destroyed during the reaction. That's why this is called the law of conservation of mass, and for this reason we have to balance the chemical equation. Now we'll go to the second law, law of definite proportion. Here, as usual, what I said here, the title, in the title only meaning is here, mass is conserved. Here proportion is definite. Whose proportion? From this law compounds are formed. Okay, once the compounds are formed, that compound, in that compound how many elements are there, how many different kinds of elements are there, the ratio between the different kinds of elements present in that compound, in that molecule, is definite. So this definite is very important. What is definite? Proportion, ratio, proportion of the elements which are present in a molecule which is formed is definite. Whether a molecule formed by that method or this method, whether a molecule we got from the different source, irrespective of the source, irrespective of the method, once the molecule or the compound is formed, its proportion between the elements is definite or constant. Let us see the law. This is proposed by J.L. Proust in 1799, and the statement is, a chemical compound is always found to be made up of the same elements combined together in the same fixed proportion by mass. The best example for this is water. Water is H2O. H2 2 gram, O 16 gram. If you take the ratio of the hydrogen to oxygen in one water molecule, it is 2 is to 18. Sorry, 2 is to 16 or 1 is to 8 by mass. Whether you collect water from the borewell, whether you collect water from the river, water from the ocean, water from the rain, source is not important. Water, I am speaking water means what? Pure water. In the pure water, the ratio of O is to H is 8 is to 1, or H is to O is 1 is to 8 by mass. Which one you are using in the beginning, that ratio you have to take. So hydrogen to oxygen, in 1 molecule of water is 1:8 by mass always. Ratio is definite, proportion is definite. That is the law. Okay, right. This rule holds good for all the molecules. One example is water I have taken. Same rule for methane, ethane, all compounds, all molecules will follow the same rule, that the ratio of the constituent elements present in a molecule is the same irrespective of the method formed or the source you will get it. Now, third law, law of multiple proportion. Here, proportion is multiplied. Means what? This law is for only one molecule, formation of one molecule. But this law is for what? If two or more elements combine and forms more than one molecule. For example, carbon, hydrogen, when they combine, you will get methane, ethane, propane, many things. Okay. What he says, if you take the ratio of one element whose mass is fixed and the ratio of the other one whose mass is not fixed, they bear simple ratio. That is the law. That means what? That means this law is applicable for the elements when they combine going for the more than one molecule formation. That time there also ratio be the simple whole number. This indicates atoms are combining in whole, not in the fraction. Okay, whether half only some part of the atom is reacting. No, it is whole atom participate in the reaction. Earlier hydrogen was in the free state before formation of water. Now after the formation of water, hydrogen is in the combined form. So H2 is there only, hydrogen is there only, it has not gone out of the reaction. So this last says that when two or more elements combine, going for the more than one type of formation of compounds or a molecule, the masses of the one whose the ratio of the mass between the elements where mass of the one is fixed, mass of the one is not fixed, they bear a simple ratio. Now by seeing the statement, we will come to know the law. Here is the statement. This law is proposed by the famous scientist John Dalton in the year 1803. The statement is, when two elements, here I have taken only for the two elements. In the higher class, you will study more than two elements. Okay, when two elements combine to form two or more, this is very important. Two or more chemical compounds. For example, two elements H and O, when they combine, they go for the water and the hydrogen peroxide. Okay, when phosphorus and the chlorine, when they combine, they go for the two compounds, phosphorus trichloride, phosphorus pentachloride, like that. So when two elements combine to form two or more chemical compounds, then the masses of one of the elements which combined with a fixed mass of the other bear a simple ratio to one another. So when C and H combines, we will get CH4 and C2H6, methane and ethane, right? Now, or we'll go further, one more example, a better example to understand this lies what? When the hydrogen and the oxygen, when they combine to get two molecules, water and the hydrogen peroxide, H2O and the H2O2. In H2O and H2O2, mass of the H2 is fixed, but the mass of the O is not fixed. Why? In water it is 1O, whereas in the case of hydrogen peroxide it is 2O. So you don't go for the ratio of the hydrogen which is fixed here. You go for the ratio of the oxygen which is not fixed. So it is ratio of O between water and the hydrogen peroxide bear the simple ratio. That means atoms participate wholly in the chemical reaction. That is the conclusion. Now, law of combining volumes. This is a new law in the 11th class. Okay, these two law we have studied in the 9th class, whereas this law plus this law, these remaining two laws for the 11th class. Let us see the law. This is by the Gay-Lussac in 1808. The ratio between the volumes of gaseous reactants and the products can be expressed in simple whole number. This law is for the gaseous reactants. This is for what? Solid or liquid. This is for when the two gases are reacting, nitrogen gas and the hydrogen gas, they are reacting to get the ammonia vapors or the ammonia gas. That time what happens? That time they bear simple whole number. What bear? The what? Uh, the ratio between the volumes of gases reactant and the products here. So ratio of nitrogen to the hydrogen is what? Nitrogen 1, hydrogen 3, 1 is to 3. Okay. So simple ratio 1 and 3. They are in the simple whole number, not in the fraction like 1 by 2, 3 by 4, or 1 by 8, not like that. Here also we can conclude whether atoms and molecules participate in the gaseous form, solid form, or liquid form. They participate wholly. That is the meaning of these two laws. Now the fifth and the final law, very important law, Avogadro's law. Italian scientist Avogadro in the year 1811. Under the same conditions of temperature and pressure, equal volumes of different gases contain an equal number of molecules. This is the relation between number and the mass, because number of molecules related to the equal volume. Okay, so because he has used the word volume, so we have to take the what? Gases. This law you can apply for the gases also. This law you can apply for the solids and liquids also. What he says here, under the same conditions of temperature, under the normal or the room temperature, room pressure, normal conditions for temperature and pressure, equal volumes of different gases contain an equal number of molecules. So here equal volume means what? 22.4 liters of any gas contains same number of molecules. Okay. So in the 9th class, what we have heard, 1 mole of any substance is made up of 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 particles of that substance. But here what is saying in the case of gases, so if you take 22.4 liters, there I said 1 mole of any substance. This is what? 22.4 liters of any gas. That sample is made up of what? 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 molecules of that gas. So Avogadro law is expanded here for the gases, right? So today we have understood the 5 laws. Now in our next discussion we will go for the some other examples, some other part of the chapter. So thank you for the